Hi, everyone. If you're new, welcome. I'm Desmond Fambrini, also known as Desi. I'm a learning specialist. I work in special education and the education firm Expressions LLC. I do post a lot on social media, though. And today we're going to be playing a little bit of a game called Are You Angry and Can I Help? So we're going to be going live for TikTok. We're going to be recording it on YouTube, and we're going to be seeing why everyone just seems so angry about absolutely everything lately. They answering random comments about why you're angry with either me or the planet. Usually it's me. Because I have one of those personalities where people get mad at me on social media a lot. People are so nice to me in person, though. It's so interesting. So we're going to be answering some questions and figuring out why are you angry and can I help? So let's go ahead and jump to the comment section. But before, let's jump into some of the reasons why I think people are angry. I think people currently are dealing with what's called an issue with the locus of control. The locus of control is the idea that your actions can affect the outcome of your own life. And the smaller your locus of control gets, the less happy you tend to be and the more angry you tend to be about the things going on around you. What I've noticed is people's own locus of control when it comes to the situations that they kind of seem to be dealing with on the day-to-day seems to be getting smaller and smaller. However, there's something about social media and being socially connected that makes us think that we can control other people's outcomes. We feel like we have the power to cancel people or make them famous. And this idea is certainly not helping our own situation. We don't feel like we can make ourselves famous, or we can't cancel ourselves, or in other words, take responsibility for our own actions. But what we can do is force other people to take responsibility. And we could force other people to boycott what we think we should be boycotting. And we should force other people to think how we think. And we should force other people. And we're trying to exert control over others because we don't feel like we have control over our own lives and what we're doing and our level of accomplishment. So I think that is actually the main reason why we're seeing so much anger right now. Is because it's a lot of people that think, well, I'm in a circumstance or a situation where I can't control the outcome. I just can't make more money, or I can't get healthier, or I can't get more beautiful, or I can't get more followers myself. But I can affect that person over there, or I can give that person over there my own opinion. I feel that is the main key to the kind of holistic unhappiness, is the idea of we are, and I mean this in the most compassionate but straightforward way, we are externalizing a lot of our own problems, right? There is very much a situation where we're dealing with homophobia, racism, and sexism, but it gets to a point where things stop becoming kind of societal problems and start becoming excuses that we're using, right? Anyway, so that's the game we're going to be playing today. So I do think that one of the reasons that we are finding ourselves so angry is because, again, our locus of control, the ability to think that, oh, I could affect the situation. Oh, I'm having a problem. I could fix it. I feel it's gotten very, very small in our society. We tend to externalize problems and blame other people for the problem. I make not enough money because of this, or I don't look attractive because of that, or I don't feel good about myself because of this person, or because of my parents, or because of racism or homophobia, which again are very, very real. Right? Those are very, very real things. But we externalize all the problems and then we say we cannot fix them. We can't do anything to fix the problems. But then what we say is, oh, but you know what we can do? Affect other people. And we try to exert control over others instead of exerting control over our own lives. And that's where I think this massive amount of fiery anger towards others instead of understanding and kind of empathy is actually stemming from. So with that said, we're now going to go to the live comments and we are going to see if people are angry and what the reason to be angry is and if I can help. Okay, first of all, Desi, is it okay to be mad at my mom for not letting me get a full-time job at McDonald's, right? So first of all, this is a really great example. You can get mad, you shouldn't get mean. Now, with that said, you need to be, and again, this is what we've forgotten the ability, right? Why does your mom not want you to get a full-time job at McDonald's, right? Like, I feel like this is a lost art, and I feel almost cynical in talking about it because it's so scary to me how people aren't considering this. It's like, I want to get a full-time job at McDonald's. Okay. My mom doesn't want me to get a full-time job. Okay. But why is she saying that? Right? And that's like a really crucial aspect that I feel like we're not considering. So I would really want to know why your mom doesn't want you to get a full-time job first. Okay. We are angry because, I'll stop you right there. It's not a we. Right? You're by yourself. It's not a we're angry at you. There's no we. There's no collective we. I have a we in terms of the 1.2 million people that follow me, but there's no we. There's no we are angry at you. Like, you're on your own. You're by yourself. If you're not by yourself, please get off your phone and talk to your friends in person. But if you say like, we're angry, my guess is you're in your room sitting on your own, which is fine. I'm not shading you for that. Everybody needs alone time. Right? But there's no collective we that is actually empowering you right now. It's a facade. It's fake. right? This is what I'm talking about when it comes to like the idea of internal locus of control becoming smaller and smaller. You fantasize this idea of that you have a collective holistic unit of people that are supporting you. These are just names on a screen. They're just likes on a platform. They're just red hearts. So it's like, we don't, right? There's no we. There's no we whatsoever, right? So we don't like that. I'll stop you right there. You could say I, but that idea of the I is really quickly getting decimated in our current individualistic society, right? Because we think to ourselves, oh, we need to be the best at this, that, and the other. I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do the other. But then we talk only about we's when it comes to accomplishing things. Well, why don't you accomplish something first individually, right? It's a really good point. Okay, next thing. Oh, and again, so I don't know if you heard today, but as, again, Desmond Fambrini, learning specialist at an education firm, I do a lot of education, but before I'm going to head to my next thing, we're jumping on live to play Why Are We Angry and Can I Help? How do I stop haters from bugging me? That's a really great question, right? So I would say I've been doing social media and I've launched a lot of my education kind of career through social media, right? I have clients from across the country. I'm not trying to brag, by the way, right? I have a lot of, but I do have clients from a lot of places and a lot of them come from social media. And what I've noticed is the reason that hate does not bother me is because the fan mail also does not affect me either. And I mean that in the most respectful way possible. If you are giving me a whole bunch of likes on a video and telling me how great I am, thank you. But it doesn't really do much for my own sense of self and my own self-confidence. I don't draw my sense of self and my self-worth through what people online tell me. If you compliment me, I'm not going to take it too seriously. And in so doing, if you also say something bad about me, I'm also not going to take it too seriously, because my actual sense of self come from my friends, my actual students, my colleagues, and of course my family, right? And social media is a fun platform. It's a fun tool to kind of like give your voice a megaphone, but it's certainly not where I get my own validation from, right? So it's certainly not where I'm drawing positive views of myself. And in so doing, I also am able to block out those negative views. And you're very welcome. And that was a good thing. So are you angry about, yeah. So that, hopefully I can help. Desi, I'm looking for a new job and I've been rejected 7 times so far. How do I not feel incapable? This is actually a really good question. I would be mad about that. And this comes to a fundamental philosophical phenomenon, not trying to give you a tongue twister on that one. But this idea of when you look at life, are you thinking that life is building you up or breaking you down? And it comes down to that situation, right? You're going to get very, very angry, very, very jaded, and very, very tired if you think to yourself as life is consistently breaking me down. It's making things harder and harder. I keep losing. But if you flip that perspective, when it comes to just perspective, we call it reframing in the field of psychology, where a lot of us have our backgrounds, right? And in the learning specialist field. But yeah, that's the thing, right? Like that idea of like, I think that the world is building me up. Like the world is building me up holistically. It's making me a better person. It's making me stronger. You said seven jobs you didn't get? That's okay, right? So now you're stronger after not getting those 7 jobs, right? Does that make sense? Okay. So if you view that as, oh, I'm getting built up by these kind of negative situations, every time something bad happens to me, I'm getting better and better. That's how you don't get angry and you actually start getting more and more confidence, right? Okay. School makes me mad. That makes sense, right? School is going to make a lot of people mad. And I completely understand school making you mad. And I completely understand you being frustrated with the schooling process, right? But school is just you. You can't be mad at school because school is a unit that you're operating in. You're not really mad at school. You're mad at your performance in school. And I'm not trying to like push too much responsibility on you, right? I own my own program. For those who don't know, I actually run my own educational practice and then for a lot of different districts around the country. And around my county. So if you do need to talk to me specifically, feel free to shoot me a DM, whether that be for a compliment or a problem or a solution that hopefully I will be able to follow up with. That includes UA with the Israeli flag, that. But yeah, school is going to make you very angry, but it's very much about how you're interacting in school. So instead of getting angry at something that, for lack of better words, isn't real, right? School isn't super real, right? It's just like an educational unit, right? Look at your own behavior within that school system. Absolutely, right? So we love that. Other things that you're upset with. So, okay, this one's very common, right? I'm upset because you are a woman wannabe. So first of all, I'm actually just a boy who wears makeup. I'm like a millennial, so not that the pronoun things are bad, but I'm Desmond Fambrini, he, him. I go to the men's bathroom. I'm a boy. I use he, him pronouns. I don't actually think I'm a woman. I was also raised by 2 women. I had 2 moms. So I actually am very, very, I'm a firm advocate of respecting female spaces. So that's like a big thing for me, actually. Big thing. I also work with 2 women who are spectacular. And on top of that, I have 3 aunts and one of them I work with. And I think that women deserve the entire world. And They literally keep the world going. So women deserve the utmost respect. Now, with that said, you see somebody who is male but wearing makeup, and you think to yourself, well, they are trying to be a woman. And I would say you're probably mad for a story, right? Like, if you think about it, this is not actually real. You're mad at a story in your head, right? And I think that's super, super important to kind of focus on, that I see a lot, right? I see this a lot with my students, but I see this a lot with my adult clients too. I have a lot more students than adult clients, but I see this a lot with my students. I see this a lot with my adult clients. I see this with my friends. I see this with my family. And of course, self-reflection. I see this with myself. You get mad at a story that isn't actually the truth. It's just something that you came up with in your head. Right? You saw me, you saw the makeup, and you thought to yourself, this is one of those trans people who runs into women's bathroom, and this is that and the other. And real talk, actually, I do completely and firmly advocate for trans women being able to use the bathrooms that they feel comfortable in. By the way, I want to go on record and say that. But with that said, you had a whole story about what I was to you, what I'm doing, and who I am, and how I'm disrespectful, and and you had this whole story, and you got upset in your own head, right? Like, that's a whole thing. So I would say that is one of the reasons why we get mad, is that we get mad at stories that we tell ourselves, right? And I would be careful of that. So I'd be very, very careful of getting mad at stories that aren't necessarily real. I'm mad because you are not advocating for people being killed. Okay, so that's another huge one that people get really, really angry on, like all the time, right? People get angry because they say, I have an issue and I think the issue is important and you don't think it's important, and therefore I'm mad at you. Right? I think that the children in Palestine dying is super important, and you don't think it's as important as I think, right? Like, you don't think it's important and you actually are okay with it, and therefore I'm against it, right? I'm against you, right? When in actuality, right, that's not really the situation, right? Just because someone is not talking about something consistently, or you haven't seen a video of them talking about it in the way that you want, doesn't mean that they don't care about your issue. They just may have other issues that they're considering or talking about, or they may view an issue in a different way than you do. So I wouldn't necessarily say just because you saw a singular video or you saw a single opinion, that you automatically can deem someone, oh, they just don't care about this issue, right? Like, they care nothing about this issue, right? They don't care about whatsoever about this issue at all. Right? You can say this about gay rights. You can say this about Palestinian rights. You can say this about standing with Israel. You can say this about the war in the Congo, right? But you get this idea in your head where, well, I know them and they don't care about my issue. And they don't care about my issue because they're bad. They're bad. They're evil, right? They're evil. Desi is evil, or that person over there is evil. And they're bad and I don't like them. And they don't care about my issue and they support death and unhappiness. And it's like, well, I don't think so. I don't think there are any bad guys on Earth, right? I think everyone thinks that they're doing the best to the best of their ability. No one's intentionally trying to be a supervillain, to the best of my knowledge. I've never met a real life supervillain. Has anyone actually? Right? Probably not, right? So it's that idea, right? That I think that people think, well, you don't care about the issues that I think are important, but you don't know what people think are important, right? Like, you don't know at all, right? And that's like a real thing. Like, absolutely. And then this is a big one, and I love talking about this one too. But someone who's like, you don't care. Let's say you don't care about Israel, right? Like, somebody that actually makes sense. Like, that makes a lot of sense, right? But like, let's say someone's like, you don't care about Israel at all. You only care about Free Palestine movement. I don't think someone doesn't care about Israel at all if they're advocating the Free Palestine movement. I think they're worried about kind of the mass starvation that's happening in Palestine, right? And then again, on the other side, it's like I post like a video like this, right? If you see somebody posting a video being like, oh yeah, well, I'm not going to advocate holistically the idea of freeing Palestine into a Hamas organization without proper infrastructure for the country to kind of do well on its own, it doesn't mean they don't care about Palestinians. It simply means that they care about Palestine in contact with the rest of the Middle East. Okay, we'll go. Hold on. I'll talk to you guys later. This is going to be important. See you guys.